inaugural lecture series for university course Science and Technology Thinking, UHIT 2302, which was arranged by UTM ILEAD in collaboration with Academy of Islamic Civilisation, Faculty of Social Science and Humanities. This lecture series will be delivered weekly by experts in their respective fields. We have a list of fantastic topics, and today is the first lecture with the title of Human and Thinking. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Muhammad Nakib bin Hamdan from Academy of Islamic Civilization, Faculty of Social Science and Humanities. I'm also the coordinator of this course. Before I introduce the panelists, please do kindly like, comment, and share this lecture. Maybe some of your friends find this topic useful for them and benefited from this lecture. I also advise all of you to stay focused on this lecture. If you have any question that you want us to ask the panelists, please do so by write on the comment, and our multimedia team will pick up the comment, and I will read for the panelists to answer all the questions. Okay, I would like to introduce the two panelists. The first panelist is Professor Dato IR Dr. Wahid Omar, Professor in Structural Engineering, and the sixth Vice Chancellor of UTM from 2013 to 2020. And the second panelist is Professor Dr. Kamruzaman Yusof, Professor in Middle Eastern Studies at the Academy of Islamic Civilization. Thank you for joining us today. Before we start the forum session, I will share the objective of the lecture, and the question will be related to the objective today. The objectives are to understand the philosophy, vision, and mission of University Technology Malaysia in the development of science and technology, to explain the definition of thinking based on the Islamic and Western perspective, and to analyze the characteristic of scientific and technological thinking based on Western and Islamic perspective. Without further ado, we will start the question to the first panelist. Professor, it is very important for every UTM student to understand the philosophy, vision, and mission of University Technology Malaysia. Can you share and elaborate to us the philosophy, vision, and mission of UTM?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Nakib, as the moderator, and also Professor Kamruzaman. And welcome all students to this first series of inaugural lecture. What I will, inshallah, share this morning is on the philosophy, vision, and UTM, vision and mission of UTM. And as highlighted by Dr. Muhammad Nakib just now, one is we have to know what is the philosophy, the vision and mission. And I think the second important aspect is to understand it. To me, why we need to understand it, because it will direct us to the meaning and to the real reason why we are here in UTM. Not only for staff here, for the lecturers, but also for students. And I think as all students know that you are here in UTM for maybe 3-4 years. And besides learning or exploring the knowledge and the skill that you require for you in the future, I think you need to know also the fundamental values that UTM is propagating through its philosophy, vision, and mission. Before I come to this philosophy, I would like to ask students, when, if you can recall or think about yourself, when do you think the moment that you have a deep thinking? Or when do you think that you have a moment of you stop thinking? And also another important question is to reflect is when you are in the process of thinking. Yeah, when you are in the process of thinking, what really guides you in that process? So I will just put that as a question to you because this is not for me to answer. But I come back to the philosophy of UTM. eh, Uh, I think if I can share with you the slide, nampak slide tak? Can you show the slide? Okay. So I will cover number 1 and number 2 and 3. I will will be elaborated by the expert in that area. Okay, okay, if I can just okay. Number 1 is UTM philosophy, vision and mission. I hope for new student or for the second year student, you have come to this philosophy, which very clearly mentioned that the divine law of Allah is the foundation of knowledge. In line with His will, UTM strives with total commitment to attain excellence in science, technology, and engineering for the well-being and prosperity of mankind. So I would like to attract your attention to the few keywords here. One, UTM believes that the foundation of knowledge is through the divine law of Allah. We can discuss, we can debate. How about our other religion? I think for Malaysia, as we believe in Rukun Negara, I think the national, I don't know, the national pillars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first pillar is that we believe in God. So whatever your religion, whatever you believe, for us we believe in God, and we also believe that the knowledge is actually the source of knowledge is actually from God. That's why I don't know whether people realize this. I would not, I won't use the word uh, what they call this, inventing knowledge. I will use discover, because knowledge to me is already there.
Yeah.
It's already there. You whatever formula we find, in our life, whatever scientific evidence that we find, all already there. That's my belief. I hope Professor Kamaruzama will correct me. I'm wrong. That's number 1. Number 2 is the total commitment. Why it is important. This total commitment is our commitment as the academia in this university, the whole ecosystem in the university, to attain excellence, in science, technology, and engineering. And why we are doing this? We are doing this for the ultimate aim, which is to create, or to what we call is to have the what we call well-being and prosperity of mankind. I think this is the fundamental belief that we put in our philosophy, not during our time. So I think UTM is very, very lucky because our founders, have come across this very, very to me very holistic philosophy that will guide us, in everything we do in UTM. That's number 1. Number 2 is I hope you can see also this one, but you can also refer to whatever document. I think you can find this document about our vision and mission. So it is very clearly mentioned our vision is as a premier university providing world-class education and research. If the philosophy actually is very fundamental, it defines our belief, it defines the pattern of our thinking, it defines our intention, and it defines how we contribute to the prosperity. The vision is actually mention why, what we want to be, and where we want to go. So what we want to be is a premier university. We don't define clearly or specifically what does it mean by premier, but to us, we should be able to provide world-class education and research. So this education, of course, in science and technology and engineering, and also research in science, technology, and engineering. So this actually will guide us. Will provide us a clear direction and where we want to go. And we have mission which define or which explain why we exist, what uh, what we are doing, yeah, in this business, in educational business. When I said business, it doesn't mean that we you know we commercialize the knowledge. Of course, we need to charge people for the education. Otherwise we cannot survive. We cannot provide you all the facilities. Or we cannot, because nowadays everything is money. But what I think what important in this aspect is, we clearly define our role, we clearly define our objective, we clearly define the reason we are in UTM. And I always tell my colleagues, we have to fight for this. What does it mean by we have to fight? Because we believe in our values. We believe in the way we do things will create this prosperity of mankind. So we have to get our share in educating you as our student. And we want you to be the future leaders with all these values. And we believe these values will bring us to prosperity. And I don't think I will elaborate more on this, but later I will come back, and I will come back and probably will share, together after Professor Kamaruzzaman elaborate on the,
Islamic.
more fundamental about philosophy, about philosophy, the thinking process, the basis of thinking, the basic philosophy. I will come back and probably I will participate, inshallah, from there. So with that, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Dr. Wahid, for the elaboration and the details of the UTM philosophy, vision, and mission. So the next question will be given to our second panelist, Professor Kamaruzaman. Prof, what is the definition of thinking based on the Islamic and Western perspective?
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for giving me the opportunity to be here. I would like to welcome also Professor Datuk Dr. Wahid Umar for helping us to make our lecture series successful, insyaAllah. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, before we dwelt into the thinking, what is the real meaning of the thinking of science and technology, either from Western perspective or from the Islamic perspective, I would like to share with you as a student of history. I am myself a student of history. Would like to share with you how this particular idea of thinking, for example, and then later on we will discuss on philosophy, came into being in the human society or in the human civilization in general. Before the time of the classical period, they call it, there were the time whereby people at that particular time and space, they live in the pre-classical period. Why they call it the pre-classical period from the Western perspective? Because they are always controlled by cosmos. They don't know what they have in their mind. They are not sure who they are, but they're always looking outside the world. And then they see, for example, during the day, they look at the sun. During the nights, they discover that there is most of the time moon and then stars here and there. So because of that, their thinking, I can say, that was so shallow, whereby they believe in superstitious, they believe in legends, they believe in myth, so on and so forth. So then, when the time comes during the Greco-Roman civilization, it was the time where the classical period of Western civilization started or took place. It was the period why people start to think using their mind, using their rational in everyday life. First of all, they keep asking, who am I? Where did I come from? Where I am going to? So those are the questions that they start to think. This is where the long list of philosophers started the idea of meaning of man, meaning of the universe, and meaning of life. Later on, it was the period whereby I can conclude during the time of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, whereby they start to share with their colleagues and friends at that time about the importance of rationalism, the importance of usage of thinking, thoughts, yeah, in their daily life. So this is the first point that I would like to emphasize here. The title of our subject is Thinking, Science and Technology. So when we are talking about science, the etymology of science came from the Latin word. You might ask questions. Why all of those terminologies in the Western civilization, they are using the Latin word? Because Latin is the first language that has been used to seek knowledge when people start to transfer from the Greco-Roman civilization, as I mentioned, and then after that has been transferred into the Islamic civilization, or they call it Arabic or Middle Eastern civilization, and then from there they transfer all those knowledge into Latin. There is no English at that time. There is no German. There is no French, Italian, and so on. So from the Latin words, the term science, that is scire, and then scientia, and then later on science. So the meaning of science is that the systematic study of the structure or behavior of physical and natural world. So you see, when we are talking about science, nowadays when we are talking about science, they always referring to bio, chem, and physics. And when they are talking about technology, they're always referring to, for example, civil engineer, chemical engineer, chemical engineering, even medical engineering, so on and so forth. So when we go back to the real meaning of science, it means that the discussion, the depart of knowledge, using a very structured way. It's not only, oh, 1 plus 1 equals to 2. Yeah, this is not really structured, but from the that particular time, we can see that how people understand the meaning of science by observation and by experiments. They observe what they see outside their body, their physical body, and then they find out that we need to do more experiments in order to get more knowledge or to be more scientific in that particular way. This is the first meaning of science. And then later on, the term of science has changed dramatically. And then now when they are talking about science, it always refers to, as I said before, to biology, chemistry, and physics. The second term that we are using in our course, that is technology. So the first one is science, the second one is technology. So the meaning of technology, roughly we can say that the application of scientific knowledge. They have the scientific knowledge, but when they apply that knowledge, they try to discover, or they manage to innovate machine, for example, tools, from the very basic into more complicated. So this is where technology give their real meaning in this particular time, right from the time of the, as I said, time classical period, continuously evolve until now. So then we want to go back to the meaning of thinking or thoughts. You can refer to the slides that we have here. Yeah, for example, yeah, I can show you 1 minute. Okay. When we look into the content of our slides, this is all very nice photos. Yeah. So please, guys, make sure that you know that those people who really contributed to the advancement of UTM. Yeah, you see our sixth vice chancellor is here, although he is still very young. And then this is the current vice chancellor of UTM, Professor Datuk Dr. Ahmad Fauzi Ismail. Please, whenever you come back to UTM, whenever you see him either in masjid or in the market, yeah, please say hello to him. At least you know that this is our game changer, yeah, in terms of academic life at UTM. So now I would like to continue the discussion on the definition of thinking. Yeah, we discussed already the meaning of science and technology, the basic meaning. So the meaning of thinking is based on thinking philosophy. Yeah, so actually the purpose of our of introducing the subject is actually to help students to use their brain, to use their rational, not only concentrating their daily life, their study and everything only on repeating what lecturers are saying to them, and then after that they transfer into the examination papers, and then after that they will get A plus, and then when they got B, they will start to complain to lecturers, asking them, why my friend have A plus, A, but I only have B minus, without thinking. The ability of thinking in the human being has been given by God. So when we are talking about the ability or the faculty that we have, yeah, this is not the faculty of social sciences or faculty of science and technology, yeah, but we are talking about the faculty, the ability that God give it to all of us. You are, I can say that the chosen people, yeah, the people has been chosen not only by UTM but by God to continue your study here. So based on thinking philosophy, so first we have to understand what's the meaning of philosophy. We will continue later on. What is the meaning of rational? Yeah, rational. Yeah, from the French word. What is the meaning of humanism? As opposed, as I said previously, to legend. Previously, people only, when they look into the big trees, they said this tree has their own power. So whenever we want to cross that tree, yeah, we want to go under the tree, we have to say hello to the owner of the tree. This is what animism or dynamism believe. But when the people start using their ability to think, so times has changed, and then later on we can see that this is the meaning of wisdom especially in the Western perspective. So the meaning of thinking very much related to the meaning of philosophy. So the term philosophy came from the two different terms that has been combined from the Greek words, that is philian, meaning love, and sophia, meaning wise. So those who are philosophers, meaning those who love the wisdom. Wisdom, not necessarily knowledge and understand, but it is more than that. So, students, when we look into the real meaning of Sophia, it is not only the feeling that you have, it is an act of intellect or curiosity. Where is the curiosity came from? It is from your intellect. It is not come from your feeling. Today I'm feeling bad. I'm pretty sure some of you probably after you slide in, yeah, to attend this class, after that you go back to bed. You are so happy because today no lecturers is looking after you. So after you slide in and then you go back. Yeah, probably only a few of them. I'm so sorry also for those who are not being able to join our class from the Facebook or YouTube due to some restriction. So going back to our discussion on the real meaning of Sophia, it is all about the question that follows the rule, or we call it discipline, yeah, inquiry. You can ask anything whenever you see people uh, cooking. You can ask them, brother, what are you doing? This is not the discipline inquiry. This is only the normal question. And then those friend will tell you, I am swimming now. I'm not cooking. Why? Because they know that you are asking the question that it is not valid. Yeah, this is inappropriate to ask the question whereby you know already they are doing the shopping. You ask them what you are doing, for example. So the purpose of Sophia also is to understand who, to understand ourselves. Without thinking, we cannot understand ourselves. To understand others, when you look into different people, for sure they have different cultures. They for sure they have different way of life, and they have their own, yeah, religion and belief. So in order to be a very good person, you have to try to understand others, to understand our world, to understand the values and everything around us. In order to understand all of those phenomena, you have no choice but you have to use your brain, you use your mind. This is what some of the philosophers talking when they are discussing about the meaning of philosophy. For example, some of them said the desire to find the truth. This is a real philosophy. Those who are uh, in the process of learning, they learn and then after that they finish their study. They got their bachelor's in engineering, for example. What is that for? If you don't have a kind of understanding, a kind of desire to find the truth. So we also as a student have to always searching for answers to a number of questions that has been uh, around us, yeah, not only now but probably later on. So according to Bertrand Russell, yeah, one of the prominent French philosophy, he said philosophy is an attempt to answer the last question. That's why in the class, whenever we ask student the first question, they might be able to answer it. Who are you? I am Mansur Rahab. Afzam, I am Afzam Azman, for example. Yeah. Ask first question. Where do you come from? They might reply to you, I'm coming from Nigeria. What are you going to do after this? question upon question. Later on, when we ask the last question, where you are going to go after you die, nobody can answer this question. So how to answer all of these questions according to philosophers from the Western perspective? That is an ability to be the real philosopher only who can answer the last question. So before you can find the last question, you should start with finding yourself before moving to another area. So when we are talking about philosophy, for example, it must have two main characteristics. That is, first, amaze is associated with wonder and amaze. So we have to be wonder. When you look, you see, or you go to Taman U, for example, those who used to come in to JB, to Johor Bahru, yeah, they used to go to Jaya, to Jasco from time to time. If you are not using your brain, you will not bother at all. Either people walking with a stick, for example, either people having the bandage, yeah, at their feet or whatever, they don't bother. Why? Because they don't use their brain. When we start to wonder why these people walking with stick, there must be some problem. So this is where the time that we use our brain, we use our mind. So the purpose of this particular course, yeah, offered by UTM is to let all the students start using their brain instead of using the other part of the brain that is only to memorize, and then after that, yeah, to write back what they have in their during their exam time. So students, yeah, when we talk about philosophy, we have to have first wonder, and second, we have to be amazed. Meaning that when we look something different, something special, we have to be amazed. If we don't amaze at all, we look the same. When people ask you what you want to eat, some people might say that, oh, I want nasi goreng. Yeah, another one say, I want nasi lemak. So they don't bother either nasi lemak or nasi goreng. They don't know even that the ingredients is different. Why they choose nasi lemak? Why they don't choose nasi goreng? Those are the things. To give you a very simple example, how common sense doesn't work at all whenever people don't use their own brain. So I can conclude here, yeah, from the Western perspective, two things you can read through, yeah, because we are already, short of time, yeah. Now I can brief also on the development of the study of philosophy. Yeah, you can see it has been introduced by Pythagoras. This person by the name of Pythagoras, who was the one who managed to change the function of sophist to be a philosopher, or they call it wise man. Because during the sophist period, yeah, before the coming of Pythagoras, in the Greco-Roman civilization, people who they call it sophists, first they are teaching rhetoric. Okay, until now, those who are studying to be a lawyer, they have to study rhetoric first. Second, the problem with these sophists is that they are always asking for more money. I'm not sure whether this is also the same in the case of some of the private universities. Yeah, for the government universities, half of the money, financial help coming from the government. But in the private university, they are really, yeah, some of them following the sophist way of thinking. That is charging student in a very expensive way. Everything you have to pay. Even probably going to the toilet also you have to pay. Yeah, going to the canteen for sure. As an entrant, you have to pay, so on and so forth. So because some people really wise in the way of thinking during that particular time, so they change from the sophists into the into philosophy. So Socrates started, the movement, to make sure that everybody has the ability, and capability to learn more about the purpose of life in their, daily life, as well as to teach them what is the truth. And then after that, you can see his student Plato. We call it SPNA. That is Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. So, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to answer for the second part, of the. Sorry, take a little bit longer. Yeah,
It's
this is
okay.
a problem with lecturers. Whenever we have the opportunity, they will never stop
Stop.
talking. But much better than politician. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah. Much better than politician. Yeah. Politician, they talk, but they are talking rhetoric. We don't know what they are talking. At the end of the day, they ask us to follow them, without any, thinking, But we are philosophers, We know where to start, and then inshallah we will know
Stop.
how to finish. So when we are talking about the process of thinking in the Islamic perspective, we can say that the basic of Islamic thinking, that is reading, In the Quran, Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala mentioned for the first revelation, asking the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to read, to Iqra. The meaning of Iqra, in the very simple sense of the word, Iqra, Qara'a, Iqra, Yaqra wa Iqra. Okay, meaning read. But when we go into the second verse of the Quran, meaning the khalaqal insana min alaq, God has created man from the the blood cloth, for example. So how can the man, how can the human being understand the creation of God, the creation of man by God from the blood clot? A very simple creation. This only can be understood through research, through education, through observation, through experiments. So you see, there is a very close meaning between what the Islamic teaching all about, as compared to what is the meaning of knowledge or thinking from the Western perspective. So in the Quran, for example, God says, giving those who have knowledge as ulul albab, that is those who really understand the real meaning of the Quran and Hadith Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So in the Quranic perspective and the Arabic language, when we are talking about knowledge, it is the meaning is ilm, or ulum, and then those who understand the knowledge, they call it ulama. So in the Quran, I can briefly say that uh, the meaning of ilm, that is understanding of a particular thing. When you understand something, meaning you have the ilm, you have the knowledge. This is where also the same meaning to the term that we used previously, that is science, and then later on develop into technology. So in the Islamic perspective, we are talking about ilm, we are talking also about hikmah, we are talking about ma'rifah, and then it is also related to science, about scholarship, about knowledge, about the ability to use mind in order to fulfill one of the main objective of the creation of a human being, that is to be the caliphate, that is the vicegerent of God. So the basic knowledge that has been sent by God, for sure it is the revelation. That's why when we are talking about knowledge from the Islamic perspective, at least there are two in terms of hierarchy. First, they call it ilmu an-naqli, that is the revelation from God to the Prophet, Muhammad, peace be upon him. And the second, they call it ilmu naqli, ilmu akli, that is the acquired knowledge. Those knowledge that men manage to acquire from their understanding and from their observation of the creation of God in particular genre, in a particular field. So I think this is the general perspective that I want to share with all students regarding the meaning of the um, uh, thinking, knowledge, science, and technology from Western as well as from the Islamic perspective. So I will stop here. I will give back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Kamaruzaman, for the long and detailed elaboration. I think we choose the right expert to share the opinion, to share the definition of thinking in either Western or Islamic perspective. So I think one of the most important is I hope that we hope as a lecturer that student understand the importance of thinking and the importance of philosophy and the importance of curiosity. Okay, Prof. For the third question, we just learned about the definition of thinking based on Islamic and Western perspective. So the next question is, what are the characteristics of scientific and technological thinking based on Western and Islamic perspective? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, Dr. Nakib. So I have no choice but to go back, to the second part of my discussion. So when we look into the slides, for example, we will see that those are the characteristic of science and technology from Western perspective. Although there are plenty, I would like to concentrate on three main characteristic of science and technology from the Western perspective. The first one is rationalism. You can see the second points there, meaning that the people in the West uh, during the Middle Ages, they used to have a very big problem, whereby at that particular time, Christianity control almost everything: knowledge, culture, way of life, um, prosperity of life, and then freedom of the people, so on and so forth. That's why the historian who did a very deep discussion on the history of the Western civilization, they call this particular time or period as a dark ages. Why it is very dark? Because it was controlled by Christianity, in all aspect of their life. This is the first thing. The second, um, during that particular time also, we must admit, in the East, especially in the Middle East, the Islamic society managed to gain a very big contribution in the uh, way of their life. That is, they call it the golden age of science and technology. Almost the same time, the same period, where the Western people having their own problem in their own area. So this is the most important thing. Due to that particular conflict between the so-called agamawan, or those who are coming from the church, and ilmuwan, those who are coming from the those who are scholars has a very big conflict. Later on, we found out that scholars managed to defeat, yeah, in one way or another, yeah, the Christian scholars, and then later on, the secularism took place. Secularism coming from the term seculum, meaning that everything related to the world is not related to the hereafter. So those who are secular, they are not only reduce the responsibility of um, the religion at that time, and but they also manage to convince people that everything must based on rational. So if you want to be a very good society, you have to base on rational. If you want to build a very good um, civilization, for example, so you have to be based on rationalism. So later on, we can see that the Western civilization managed to spread all over the world, but we must remember that the Western civilization is very unique, but not universal. Okay, because this particular civilization based on the homogeneous society, not based on heterogeneous society. Homogeneous meaning they are coming from the same, yeah, same group of people. Heterogeneous like we have in Malaysia, yeah, we have Indian, Chinese, Malay, and some other peoples. Yeah, this is heterogeneous society. So because of that, as I mentioned, it is based on rational thinking. So the main purpose of, or the main objective, main characteristic of Western philosophy is based on rational. Everything is rational. If you are not rational, yeah, meaning you will be left behind. If you are rational, you can go with us. This is one thing. Yeah. The second is about the human rights. They are fighting, and then they manage to convince the world that human have their own rights apart from their responsibility. They have right to, for example, express themselves, to own property, yeah, to do whatever they rights, and then nobody can stop them. Because of that, they start thinking how to provide a better life, a better quality life. Previously, they don't have telephone. Later on, they managed to discover telephone. Yeah, Graham Bell, for example. And then after that, uh, uh, handphone. Yeah, and then with handphone, they have almost everything now. With 4G, and then yeah, will come 5G very soon. Yeah, from China, not from America. You see, so those are the things that is happening. So the third characteristic of the human, of the Western philosophy, that is scientific thinking, science and technology. These are the three main or central characteristic that uh, has been flourish in the Western society. That's why when we are talking about the Western society, Western civilization, we, those who are living in the non-Western world, must always be very cautious. That is, we have two different type of modernization. Whether we want to take modernization, we want to be modernized, or we want to be westernized, or we want to be both. Yeah, those who are coming from China, they have their own uh, civilization. Those who are coming from India, they have their own civilization. Those who are coming from other part of the world also, they have, we have our own civilization. So whether we want to adapt the Western civilization, or we want to adapt the Western values, which is probably have some problem with our own core values. So the main values that Western has been developed in their own society, yeah, those are some of the sample. That is, they believe in absolute power. They believe in always, you have always to be very happy. Pleasure must be in every aspect of your life. even during your study and even during the process of learning and education. You have to feel that it is very delicious, very attractive. If some of the lecturers just talking without looking at you, reading the notes, for example, you might say, oh, what happened to this lecturer? Yeah, not pleasure at all, not happy at all. Yeah, we don't know what they are talking about. So this is part of the Western values that has been instilled in the whole society in the world. It is all about utilitarian, for example. If there is no value, people might ask lecturers, yeah, why we should learn this thinking science of technology. There is no value. We don't need this. We only need the certificate in, for example, in civil engineering, yeah, in order to be a certified civil engineer. So we have to think twice whether this particular core values is really coming from our own society, or they are coming from the Western society that has been instilled on us, make us feel very uncomfortable, whereby we uh, whereby we feel that this is uh, always not coming from our own culture and society. It is all also about pragmatism. It is all about relativism and subjectivity. Yeah, this is also very dangerous, whereby people think that there is no absolute truth. Yeah, if you want to show that this is the truth, you have to bring this particular things using bringing to the to the lab. If you cannot show the result to the lab, so you cannot accept this. Yeah, whereas there are so many things in our life, yeah, that we believe coming from God, yeah, either Christianity, either Buddhism, either you are Hindus, yeah, or Muslim. So those are the things that I would like to elaborate, but not in detail. Apart from that, although they have some other values, but these particular values has been sidelined, yeah, by people because uh, their life has been overwhelmed with science and technology. But from the Islamic perspective, yeah, I can mention briefly. Yeah, you can discuss further with your lecturers. First is the freedom is guided by revelation. There is a freedom in religion, but freedom is not absolute. You have to guide, yeah, yourself. You have to be guided by revelation. Why? Because people can think, but there is a certain limit whereby your thinking cannot reach, yeah, to some particular destination that you want. Yeah, also same, also your eyes, you can see something, but you cannot see anything beyond your ability to see. It is not because of you are opening you although you keep opening your eyes, but because there is no light, so you cannot see. Yeah, this is as simple as that. Same also, you have the ability, yeah, to take something very heavy, 100 kilo, 150 kilo, but later on there is a limitation. Same also to your mind. So in Islam, we believe that we have freedom, but freedom must be guided by the revelation. Second, we are talking about security and well-being. We always has been taught, yeah, by the Quran, yeah, by the Prophet, that we have to do something in order to bring about a better life, yeah, to our daily life, but they must be under the the pretext of security and well-being. Yeah, this is the second. The third is the most important thing, that is tolerance. So we need to be a very tolerant people in order to live together in this particular world. We have no choice. You cannot say that I don't want to be tolerant. I want to buy only one, for example, island, small island in the Pacific, and then I want to stay there alone. You will never survive, because this is against, yeah, the nature of humanity. So the fourth point uh, has been taken, yeah, by United Nations also, when they are talking about SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, that is sustainability of life. So with that, I would like to thank once again to Dr. Gabe I think probably Prof. Dato also have something to say. I know he is now waiting his time for that. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Kamaruzaman, for the details explanation. I think for me as coordinator also, I learned a lot from this lecture for the sharing from Prof. Kamaruzaman. Back to our first panelist, Prof. Dato. Maybe you can make a conclusion uh, with the details, the elaboration by Prof. Kamaruzaman about thinking, philosophy, and you can make a relation between the UTM philosophy and UTM vision and mission.
Oh, so it's beyond my ability to discuss what have been discussed by Professor Kamar Zaman. But I think back to the reality of UTM and also uh, your role as student and our role, to nurture you as our future leaders, not only for Malaysia but also for the global. I think it clearly mentioned in our philosophy, vision, and mission. We really, embrace this not totally Islamic, values. I think it's more universal values, but guided by the divine law. I think that is the really make it more comfortable, because if you remember the last point mentioned by Professor Kaman about the tolerance, so we have to be open to debate, but guided by this truth. And again, it's very dangerous with the Western way of thinking about the absolute truth. There's no absolute truth, so we have limitation. So that's why I think we embrace this universal value based on divine law. And I hope for our student, I think we, I don't know, at this level, I always ask myself, after we know all this knowledge, what is it for us? I think for us, I think we should, one, I think we have this capability of thinking, and I think we have the capability of exploring knowledge. Now maybe you are in class, and lecturer will share with you all the knowledge, and after you will develop your faculty, as mentioned by Professor Kamaruzaman just now. you know uh, to have your own ability, to explore more, about science, about technology, about the, for example, now we are very much into artificial intelligence. So this is a big opportunity for you, to create the future, for our future generation. That's where I think the fourth point mentioned just now is about sustainability. So we want to create, to me, in Malaysia now we have what we call wawasan kemakmuran bersama. It's a shared prosperity. But I believe in the sustainable of the cycle of sustainable of shared prosperity. Meaning, we have to make sure, we play our role to sustain, to create this sustainability. So I think for student, so don't ignore yourself. Don't take a position which you say, I don't have the ability to think. Don't take a position of, oh, this is not my business. This is not my business. I'm only study civil engineering. But in civil engineering, I'm a civil engineer. In civil engineering, you have to apply a lot of values. A lot of values. Everything you do, you must consider values. And this will come from whatever, belief you whatever belief you want to subscribe to. It's up to you. But to me, we are bounded by these universal good values. It may come from, different beliefs, but we are, I think, together in this to create this what we call prosperity. And please also aware that you have this very strong inquisitive mind. The question will keep coming to you, and now you know about, about the philosophy, the basis of philosophy, the fundamental of thinking. So please apply this in your whatever way. Maybe now as a student, and later as people who lead an organization, or people who contribute to the society through whatever discipline you are studying now in UTM. So maybe you are not interested in very detailed about philosophy, but I think there is very clear body of knowledge. very clear line of thinking that you can subscribe to. But as a student of UTM, I hope one day you will be, you will contribute to the society, and you know about this knowledge, and not meaning the knowledge is not about your area, but also about the wider
Multidiscipline.
perspective, wider horizon of knowledge. I hope I mix up whatever Professor Kamaruzaman and the vision and mission of
UTM.
UTM.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Dato' Wahid, for the conclusion about our discussion. So, okay, we have a question. So, I believe this question is for Prof. Kamuzaman. How can we tell if someone is thinking? What is the evidence of thinking? What are the indicators that thinking is occurring or has occurred?
Yeah, very difficult question, but we can make it very simple. Yeah, all of you, please remember that this is our first lecture. We have another
Series.
seven lecture series. So don't stop here. Yeah, please continue until the end of our course, and then hopefully you will
Fine.
get A. Yeah, I know most of you, although we are talking about this and that, oh, we have headache because we don't understand and everything. But later on, yeah, when the results, come, you want to see, oh, good. Although I don't understand everything, yeah, but I get A finally. Yeah. So the purpose of introducing this particular course is not only to get A, yeah, but to seek knowledge, to understand more, and then later on, the most important thing is to apply. That's why part of our, the content of our discussion is all about values. You can see later on, and then about the also humanizing science and technology, about the ethics, which is the among the most important part of our lecture series. So the question is, how can we tell if someone is thinking? Okay, the answer is that if someone asks you, yeah, something, yeah, for example, I always ask to my student, yeah, in the class, yeah, for example, what is the meaning of numbers? Okay, what is the meaning of numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the answer will be, yeah, you might say that, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Before you understand the meaning of numbers, you have to understand first the meaning of meaning. So when you ask yourself, what is the meaning of meaning? This is the time where you start thinking. If I ask you and then you manage to answer it promptly, swiftly, that is, what is the meaning of number? They said, oh, 1 plus 1 equals to 2. It is not right. This is not the absolute right meaning of numbers, because numbers is part of the things that is not really we can see it's not really exist, but it is all about what we have in our mind. I give you another example. If 1 plus 1 equals to 2, how about 1 chicken plus 1 cow? So the answer is 1 chicken and 1 duck, for example, and 1 cow, and so on. So when I ask question to you, I can see whether you are thinking to find the correct answer. Yeah, as a teacher, yeah, I have been a lecturer for about 37 years also. I will be retire soon, inshallah. Datuk Wahid will be around, will continue this lecture series, yeah, together with some other prominent scholars. So back to your question, yeah, as a philosopher, they know that their students are thinking or not. The evidence when they give answer. I'll give you one simple example, another one. When Plato teaching some some knowledge, yeah, to his students Aristotle, yeah, There is Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Plato learned from Socrates, and Aristotle learned from Plato. One of the many ways, yeah, to teach student is through asking question. So what Plato did is that he asked Aristotle, "What is the meaning of chicken? What is the meaning of man?" And then suddenly Aristotle bring a chicken, okay, to show to the to his teacher that he said this is the man. Why you are giving us, showing us a hen, a chicken instead of a man? He said because they have some similarities. First, men have two legs, and then chicken also have two legs. But Plato said, oh, that is not perfectly right because uh, chicken has hairs, okay, but not man. Yeah, and then later on, yeah, they struggle to take out all of those things, and then they come out with ayam tonggal, they call it, yeah, yeah. Naked chicken. And then Plato said, no, 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 this is not the real meaning of man. And then later on, Plato told Aristotle that man different from other creatures because of their ability to read, not to think, but to read, ability to talk, because different people talking different language, yeah, according to their society. But chicken, whenever you go to Europe, chicken talking the same language. Early in the morning, yeah, they will asking everybody to wake up, yeah, either to do their namas or their prayer or to do some other things. But man, as Plato always, yeah, describe it, that is those who can speak. So what is the evidence of thinking? Meaning that when we ask question only, we can see students whether they are thinking about the question that we ask or they are thinking some other things. Oh, after this, what should I take for lunch? I didn't take anything. I'm starving now. When the lecturer want to start talking, yeah, for example, to stop talking. So the evidence of thinking only can be seen when we ask question. Without asking question, we don't know. Yeah, some people they are always crying. We don't know why they are crying. They thought because of lecturer will be retiring soon. Actually, when we ask them, they said no, no, because my mother passed away yesterday, for example. So what are the indicators that thinking is occurring or has occurred? There is some evidence that only can be understood, can be perceived, yeah, can be understood by philosophers. So in order to be a good man, you have to be a philosopher. Not necessarily you have a good knowledge, but using your brain in order to continue and giving, to contribute to the people. This is my,
Answer.
simple answer to that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Kamzaman. Even the simple answer also very hard to consume. And I hope that we have the recorded version so that the student can watch it for the second time. And the second question is, can there be thinking without learning? So the question is, or maybe Prof.
Yeah, probably Dato
Prof.
can help
Dato
us a
want
little bit.
to
Yes.
respond about
Okay,
this.
Yeah.
I am not a philosopher. I think we can apply our logical thinking.
Yeah.
So to me, there will be no learning without thinking, because I think during learning we utilize our ability to think.
Yeah.
That's why that's why we don't have this spoon feed kind of learning. Because this spoon feed kind of learning is you are not thinking. You just get all the knowledge, but you cannot apply the knowledge. So that's very rigid, very bad. So always to me, learning must be a very heavy thinking process. You know. So thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you for the response from the Prof. Dato Wahid for the second question. And now we have reached the end of the forum. So I would like to express my gratitude to Prof. Dato Wahid and Prof. Kamuzaman for the sharing session as a forum moderator, and I would like to thank also the media team behind the scene to make this forum a success. So thank you very much and see you soon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.